What's up, everyone? Welcome to this day in Philly Sports History for April 6, 2025. I'm your host, Jim Montgomery. Welcome to a Sunday edition of the podcast. It's easy like Sunday morning. As we always do, let's start with a little bit of housekeeping. First, be sure to follow me on social media, Jimbo_Mont on Twitter and TikTok. On Instagram, at PhillyJimbo. Subscribe to the YouTube channel, Jimbo_Mont, and continue to spread the word as we go and try to grow this thing. It's been a slow burn, but lots of good things on the horizon, but we are getting there. Also, always remember, if you want to see highlights or clippings or just special things about the event, game, whatever we're talking about that day, go to my social media, all of them, including my Facebook and LinkedIn. I post the clip of this day in Philly sports history with those highlights and newspaper clippings, whatever I can find. Obviously, some of the earlier stuff, it's harder to get, but there's always something on there. So be sure to check that out every day. Today, we are going to finish up our spotlight on Lenny Wagner, the author of Playing with the Best, One Man's Journey Through the Golden Age of Sports, the story of Walter French. And then tomorrow, we're going to pick up with our missing rings focus. And these are players in Philly who either deserved it, would have been nice for them to win, but did not win a championship in Philadelphia. And obviously, in the course of our history, we have a lot of them. So looking forward to that. Kind of a play off of the NFL Network missing rings thing. But we're going to, instead of teams, we're going to focus on individual and specific players. So stay tuned for that tomorrow. And then we'll close the month with our NFL draft spotlight. All right. Tough one for the Phils yesterday. 3-1. The Dodgers are a good team, and I saw a lot of people getting on Aaron Nola. He's given up a lot of home runs so far this year. It's kind of been his MO, but I think everybody needs to take a step back. It was still a quality start. This dude held the Dodgers to 3 runs. The vaunted Dodgers, the $1 billion team or whatever their payroll is, 3 runs. Obviously, the 3 runs came on 2 home runs, but that was a quality start. Offensively, you can't get 4 hits and expect to compete with anybody, especially the Dodgers. And yes, it wasn't probably, and I saw some of the post-game comments, Nolan wasn't happy. He didn't say it was his best game, but that was a quality start. That was a good start, holding the Dodgers to 3 runs. And yes, you can make the argument, well, if he didn't give up the home runs, and you're right. However, you can't expect to win games by getting 4 hits. And I'm not concerned about them only getting 4 hits to the Dodgers. I mean, they're a good team. So, I mean, I'm not saying it's good that they lost, but I mean, if this was the Nationals or the Marlins that they lost 3-1 to and had 4 hits, then I'd be concerned. The series is tied right now. Today's the rubber match. Christopher Sanchez is on the mound. It's going to be a good one. And like I said, everybody needs to kind of pump the brakes on the Aaron Nola hate. He hasn't been the best. Like, he's been the 5th best starter in the rotation so far this year. But lots of teams out there would die to have him as their number 1 or number 2 starter. So he will come around. But I just wanted to mention that because the hate on Aaron Nola, it's like people don't want to look at the root cause of why they lost yesterday, and it was only getting 4 hits. And they had their opportunities. I mean, it was unfortunate, the hit and run, that Schwarber ended up getting the fly ball that would have brought in the tying run when it was 2-1. But, I mean, the fact that they were doing hit and run, like, I think there's so many positives to take away from this. And, yes, a loss is not good, but I don't know. I feel like the mindset, the mentality, what they're trying to do is changing. And, I mean, for years we've said, why don't they do more hit and runs? I don't know if I would have done a hit and run with Schwarber at the plate with 1 out and a runner on third. But the fact of the matter remains, they were doing the hit and run. So looking forward to this game today. And again, I think if they come out and the pitching is good, and they're still having some good at-bats and kind of manufacturing, or attempting at least to manufacture runs, that's going to bode well as the season progresses. So I've been pleased so far with these two games. And I missed this yesterday, but I saw this. I believe it was on Crossing Broad. JT Realmuto has the most caught stealings or runners thrown out since he came to the Phillies, which is just amazing. Still in awe of what he did the other night. But that does lead to today's question of the day. Should we be concerned about Aaron Nola? I don't think so. I think it was a quality start, but I know a lot of people out there, so let's get the discussion going on a Sunday. 267-495-8531. That is the Back to the Future voice and text line. Get that, anything else Philly sports related, off of your chest. It's all fair game. Cleanse your soul here on a Sunday, and let's start the work week off good. But like I said, I don't think there's anything to be concerned about with Nola. I was more concerned that the offense only had 4 hits. But let me know your thoughts on that. And then to recap yesterday's question today, I asked, what are you most surprised about so far in the season? And everybody was pretty much all over the board between pitching and hitting. Lots of votes for Edmundo Sosa. But the general consensus and the message across the board, everybody was just impressed with the consistency of the team and doing those small things, doing those little things. And to me, I agree. That's probably the biggest thing, is they've been consistent. I would love to see how they bounce back today after a tough loss like that. But doing those little things, the small balls, hitting runs, bunting, stealing bases, being aggressive on the base paths. Like, I like what I'm seeing so far from this team. But thank you, as always, for participating in the question of the day. And then let me know, are you concerned about Aaron Nola giving up too many home runs? I'm not yet. I really am not, but talk me into it if you are. Sixers lost again, 114-109 to the Timberwolves. Quentin Grimes had 28 points, and they put the pressure now on the Nets and the Pelicans in the race for that 4th spot. They're now 2.5 up on the Nets, a game and a half back of the Pelicans. Really, at this point, I'm not as concerned about the Nets with 5 games left. I want to see the Pelicans lose and really get within 1 game of that. So we'll see what happens with those teams today. Sixers are back in action tomorrow. The Flyers' dead cat bounce is finally over. They lost to the Canadiens 3-2, snapping that 3-game winning streak. Matvei Mishkov's point-scoring streak also snapped as the Flyers go back to their old ways and have the Little League period, giving up 3 goals in the 3rd period en route to the 3-2 loss. They also have 5 games left as they're coming down the stretch. Not much action in the Union game yesterday against Orlando City. A 0-0 draw. But they get the point, they move on, and look forward to their next game. But really, there's no highlights because nobody scored. Be sure to check out my friends at the Clashing Conferences podcast. So many great things going on with their sports fan network. Go to clashingconferences.com to see what they have to offer, how you can get involved, get your voice heard, and check out their podcasts on YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts. But Steven and the crew over there are doing great things. So go to clashingconferences.com to check out what they have to offer. And then, of course, go to Philly Goat. Obviously, a new shirt just dropped yesterday, the Philly Moderate shirt. And I guess this was a cartoon in the New Yorker magazine. It's a picture of the Fanatic kind of all dressed up and saying, let's just everybody enjoy the game. I guess it was a popular cartoon, but of course, Philly Goat, in true Philly Goat fashion, made a t-shirt on it, and everybody seemed excited for it. I was not familiar with this before, but it's a cool-looking shirt, so go check that out. And any of their other Phillies stuff, though, you get the fans, the Believe shirts, you name it, they got it. Go to Philly Goat, and as I've been saying, scroll through their site and see what else they have there, as sometimes things kind of get pushed back as they introduce new stuff. But go to Philly Goat, use the promo code Jim Montgomery to take 10% off of your order. That's phillygoat.com, promo code Jim Montgomery to take 10% off of your order. All right, today we're going to do a little bit of a double feature on a Sunday. And first, we're going to go back to 1974, and this was a great one at Veterans Stadium. Opened the season, Phillies Mets, Steve Carlton versus Tom Seaver. everything you wanted in a game in the mid 70s, this one had, and the game did live up to the hype. Phillies beat the Mets 5-4 when Mike Schmidt hit a two-run walk-off home run against his former or future teammate Tug McGraw. It was the second walk-off homer of Schmidt's career. Amazingly enough, and this has nothing to do with today's, his first walk-off was against Bob Gibson. Didn't know that Mike Schmidt faced Bob Gibson in his career, so that's a pretty cool thing. But for his career, Mike Schmidt had 10 walk-off homers, which again, didn't realize he had that many either. But Phillies beat the Mets on this day in 1974 when Mike Schmidt hit a two-run walk-off homer off of his future teammate who would be jumping in his arms in 6 short years, celebrating the World Series title, Tug McGraw. And that happened on this day in 74. And then, a not-so-good memory, we're going to fast forward to 1993. And this was the day that I realized I was heartbroken, but I realized that sports was a business. And this is the day that Reggie White signed with the Green Bay Packers, 4-year, $17 million. And still to this day, it kills me because for all intents and purposes, from everything we've heard, Reggie didn't want to leave. And I think there was a ton of pressure from the players union because he was the biggest name at the time to really kick off NFL free agency. His wife Sarah still says that the Eagles never offered him. Norman Braman never offered him a contract. Reggie probably would have stayed for less money because he didn't want to leave, but did not receive any offers whatsoever. We did forgive Norman Braman back in January, but it still doesn't mean I'm not pissed off about it. We can forgive, but we're not going to forget about this one because it's one of the most egregious. The fact that you don't offer him a contract, Braman said that Reggie said he wasn't coming back. And based on his track record, I don't know if I believe Norman Braman anyway, but obviously he would go on to win the Super Bowl. One of the most painful images of my life is seeing my childhood hero, Reggie White, winning a Super Bowl, not with the Eagles. But on this day, a young Jim Montgomery, future host of This Day in Philly Sports History, realized that sports was a business, and it was devastating. It was heartbreaking, and I don't think I've ever really grew attached to players the way I did to those guys ever again, for really the fear of not getting hurt or to kind of protect myself. But Reggie White, on this day, left the Eagles to sign with the Packers through free agency, the first really big name guy to kick off NFL free agency. And I'll get over it. It brings back just a whole bad vibe thinking back on that. But excuse me, it happened, so we talk about it. And then finally today, we're going to finish our spotlight on Lenny Wagner, the author of Playing with the Best, One Man's Journey Through the Golden Era of Sports, chronicling the life of Walter French, the amazing life of Walter French, both a Major League Baseball and an NFL star. Yesterday, we talked about winning the 1925 NFL championship and the fact that he was the best player on the field in that de facto championship game against the Chicago Cardinals. Today, we talk a little bit about the controversy surrounding that 1925 championship, as well as a curse and really just ridiculousness. So, Lenny, take it away.
Now, it had been prearranged that the winner of that game, or the champion, I should say, would play an exhibition game against the Four Horsemen Notre Dame team, which was considered at that time to be the greatest football team ever assembled. And as we mentioned, the college football was at that time deemed to be superior to professional football, especially that college team. That they were legendary. So the game is scheduled to be played at Shibe Park, which is where Walter played his games for the Athletics. And the owner of the Frankfurt Yellow Jackets, which was the Philly team in the NFL, protested the playing of the game, saying that it was in his protected territory and shouldn't be played there. The Maroons went ahead and played the game, and the league upheld the protest of the Yellow Jackets and suspended the Maroons and stripped them of their title that they had legitimately earned on the field when they beat the Cardinals. So, it was a controversy that's still talked about today. Every few years, Pottsville, petitions the NFL to return the championship that the Cardinals eventually got. And the Cardinals, the league always votes it down. The only two teams that support the Maroons are the Eagles and the Steelers, the two Pennsylvania teams. So that and there's there's letters. I found letters in Walter's papers and everything where he, they still felt, hurt by that, where he would write to different people saying, well, maybe one day we'll get this squared, they'll straighten this out, but they never have. And there's a whole group of people that believe that the Cardinals are kind of cursed. They did win a championship in the 40s, but that's the last one, and they are the longest running professional team in any sport without a title. And there's a funny story that I came across where the mayor of Pottsville got a call from some radio station or whatever in Phoenix when the Cardinals were in the playoffs a few years ago, asking if the mayor could do anything to remove the curse. And the mayor declined.
Thank you, Lenny. And again, to me, it's just dumb. I don't understand it. And I get that there are rules, but to not have that game, it's just very petty to not want that game to be played in your home area because of finance. I don't even know why. The Yellow Jackets were done. The fact of the matter is they played up in the Northeast. This game was in further down in North Philly at Shibe Park. I don't know. It's just, it is what it is, I guess. But the Cardinals have never been the same since. And I don't know. What are your thoughts on that? Let's have a bonus little question of the day. Should the Pottsville Maroons, because of their play on the field, it wasn't like they used illegal players or cheated. They were the best team in the NFL that year, and because they played an exhibition game against the Notre Dame All-Stars, or actually, I don't even think it was the Notre Dame All-Stars. I think it was just the Notre Dame team. They're stripped of the NFL championship. Should the Pottsville Maroons be the 1925 NFL champions? I think so. But if you want more stories about Walter French, and like I said, I only covered some of the stories here for his Major League and NFL careers, but his story is an amazing one. Great college athlete, great coach. Also was a very avid and good golfer late in his career, or later in his life. Just fought in war. You have to check out this book. If you're a history fan and a sports fan, this is the perfect book for you. It's available wherever you get books. It's also available on Audible. And if you want to go out and see Lenny do a little presentation, as well as pick up the book and have him sign it, he will be at the Mount Laurel Historical Society on April 8th. I believe that starts at 7:30, I believe. So come check it out. I will be there as well. But Lenny Wagner, I just want to thank you for sitting down with me. It's been fun talking about Walter French the past week. And go pick up the book. Seriously, go pick up the book. Playing with the Best, One Man's Journey Through the Golden Era of Sports, the story of Walter French. Like I said, if you are a history person, this makes a great gift for your dad, too. Especially if your dad's real into old sports, kind of like my dad. So I really do think this is especially if they're into history, go pick up the book. But again, shout out to Lenny. I appreciate you taking some time to spend with us. Thank you for writing this book, and I'm glad that we were able to get connected and you were able to appear on the podcast. On this day in 1993, Reggie White left the nest to go sign with the Green Bay Packers, 4-year, $17 million, completely crushing my heart and making me realize that sports is a business. Then in 1974, Mike Schmidt with a 2-run walk-off homer off of future teammate Tug McGraw to give the Phillies a 5-4 opening day win. Like I said, this game had everything. Steve Carlton, Tom Seaver, Phillies, Mets, dramatic finish, everything you'd want in an opening day game. We'll have more on the Phillies-Dodgers as they play the rubber match today. We'll continue to track the lottery standings. Be sure to let me know your thoughts on Aaron Nola, and if we should be concerned about all the home runs he's giving up. But more importantly, enjoy the day of sports. You got the Women's National Championship game today, Phillies-Dodgers, lots of other baseball going on. Great games yesterday in the Final Four. Duke choking it at the end. And honestly, it's going to be a good day because when Duke loses, America wins. This has been This Day in Philly Sports History for April 6, 2025. My name's Jim Montgomery. Go enjoy your Sunday. And until next time, I'll see you when I see you.